Hey y'all, we're back for another episode of the Runnin My Mouth podcast. I almost said not just Aaron there for like a half second, but I caught myself. I decided to record this week's pod today, which it's Monday. I don't know what's today's date. The 6th? The 5th. No, I'm a day ahead. I decided to record it today instead of last Thursday, which is when I would normally record, because this weekend I went on a little trip and I want to talk about it. And yeah, before I get started, this is going to be primarily about music. So if you're not interested in that, I'm probably going to talk about something else. I don't know, but I'm mostly going to be talking about music again because I think I did it for most of the first episode, but whatever. It's the third episode of the Running My Mouth podcast. I am your lovely, dutiful host, Aaron, and allow me to run my mouth. So, like I just said, this weekend I traveled to Memphis, Tennessee. I was walking in Memphis. Yes. I didn't go to the pyramid this time around because I was just too tired. I was dog tired, okay, on Sunday when I drove back because Friday I had a work thing that lasted a long time and I was basically on my feet for the entirety of it, and I'm looking at my door and my door isn't locked. I gotta go lock that. Hold on, I'll cut this out. I didn't go back to the pyramid, the Bass Pro Shops pyramid, aka the 6th largest pyramid in the world, which just so happens to be on the Mississippi River, or I guess close to the Mississippi River in Memphis, Tennessee, because I was tired. I had a work thing, lasted a long time. I was on my feet the whole time. I was tired. Driving just makes me exhausted for some reason. I really don't know why. I mean, obviously you're not like moving around when you're driving. You're mostly like static. But I think it's the tiredness comes from like constantly having to be hyper aware of your surroundings at all times. That just makes me mentally tired, I guess. And I mean, it wasn't a 3-hour trip because I drive like a maniac, but it was a nearly 3-hour trip of, being hyper aware of my surroundings for 3 hours. I can't zone out. I can't take a nap. Otherwise, I would crash and die. So speaking of crashing and dying, I did come close to that, which is slightly hyperbolic, but it could have gone a little bit worse. So I was maybe, I want to say 20 minutes into my trip, and I hadn't even really made it out of the Jackson Metro yet. I was driving north on I-55, which I absolutely hate doing. Some people on the interstate, they just don't make great decisions when driving. And that, I guess, sort of happened this time as I was driving. So just to paint a picture here, this is 2 lanes, right? The interstate at this point is 2 lanes. So I'm in the left lane. There is a pickup truck with like a trailer attached to it with some crap in the back, not directly in front of me, but let's say they're in the right lane, and they're in the right lane in front of me, and behind me is a different black pickup truck, and next to me, I can't really remember, but I'm like 90% sure there was a vehicle like not directly next to me, but like in the area to which if I did try to like change lanes, we probably would have gotten a car accident, which I mean you could probably tell where this is going with the story. But driving on the interstate, which I kind of hate doing, and I'm driving sort of behind this pickup truck with a trailer in the back, got a bunch of crap in the back, and I can't like remember what exactly was in the back of the truck, not that it really matters, but it was a lot of crap. And let's just say it was an unsecured load. So this person, they had a bunch of stuff in a trailer, and it wasn't like in the back of the pickup truck, right? So if you're imagining the back of a pickup truck, the bed, if you will, it's sort of enclosed on 4 sides, not completely, obviously, unless you have like one of those things on the back. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I don't know, but it was a trailer, so it's like a flat bed plus like nothing on the like trailer hitch side, and then 2 sides it's just like bars or something. Okay, this is getting a bit complicated. Imagine like a trailer that would be used, or like something that would be used to like haul a lawnmower. Imagine one of those contraptions. So like, not like it. don't know why I'm finding it so hard to like describe this trailer. It is a trailer. It doesn't have like proper walls or anything, and there's like a bunch of boxes and stuff stacked on top of it. I don't know if this person was like moving or whatever, or they were just taking stuff to the dump or something like that. But truck, trailer, hitch, lots of crap in the back. That's all you really need to know. And then all of a sudden, I don't even know what happened. I don't know if they hit a bump because they weren't turning or anything like that. So they must have hit a bump or something, and a box comes off of the trailer and onto my lane, and it like explodes open. And I really don't know what was inside of the box. I think it was like honestly, it looked like scrap metal to me. I really don't know what it was. It was just, again, a bunch of crap. And that comes flying in my direction. And like I said, I'm in the left lane, and there's like a car close-ish to me in the right lane, so I can't go left, because if I went left then I would have crashed in the median, and there was no like barrier or anything, so it's just like two lanes and then grass on one side, and then like honestly I think like a ravine or something on the other. And then I can't go into the right lane, because if I went in the right lane then I would have crashed into the other car, and then we both would have been crashed. So I basically had no choice but to slam on my brakes and kind of drive through all of the crap. And thankfully the debris wasn't like that big or anything, because otherwise would have messed my car up and I would have like popped a tire or something. But I don't think I drove over anything. But I do remember some stuff like hitting my windshield, but there were no chips or like anything like that. So again, don't know what was in this box. Scraps, crap, I don't know. So I had to slam on my brakes. The truck that was behind me, because of course, pickup trucks, they love following too closely. Thankfully, this pickup truck was not following too closely. Otherwise, it would have rear-ended me. And it eventually ended up going into the other lane. And once the coast was clear, once I had like driven over all of the crap, I kind of sped up to catch up. Now, what I'm about to say, probably not the safest thing, given what I know about road rage people, but I did it anyways, and I'm here intact with no bullet holes, so it turned out okay. But I would not recommend doing this. I sped up to catch up with the driver and basically laid on my horn until I like completely passed them. And did that solve anything? No. Did I feel good afterwards? Sorta. So that was my almost dying story. A little maybe more dramatic than it actually was, but I can imagine if I was driving with like somebody else and if they would have freaked out, then I would have freaked out, and then we both would have been freaking out, and then we would have gotten in a car accident. But thankfully, I guess I was alone in this one, so there was no freak outage happening. I'm not a screamer. When I get like surprised or something, I don't scream. So like there's no screaming. There's just kind of focused on, number one, finding out, like trying to figure out what exactly was in this box that had fallen off this truck, and number two, trying to like gauge like, okay, if I like I don't even know what I was thinking at the time. I wasn't really thinking anything other than I hope this stuff that I'm running over doesn't pop one of my tires. And it ended up being okay. I guess I went all the way to Memphis. I did take a look at my car, and it looks fine. I mean, there's nothing in my tires. I didn't feel like I drove over anything, so I guess a crisis averted for that one. But yeah, that was kind of scary. I don't really like driving on the interstate, and that reminds me of another story where I was driving on the interstate, not I-55, it was I-20 this time, and it was a Sunday, and that's usually when I go grocery shopping. So I'm driving on I-20, and I'm in the right lane this time, and all of a sudden, like in front of me, I see something just like in the lane, and I have to, this one, it wasn't like a near-death experience because I saw it in enough time where I could like navigate, but basically there's just a mattress in the lane, and yeah, imagine if someone wasn't paying attention though and they just like ran over like a whole mattress, and they were like driving a little car-shaped car like the one that I drive. That wouldn't be a good time. So, but, I did have a good time. Ooh, segue. I did have a good time going to my destination. So, I was in Memphis because I was seeing a concert, and the folkses that I was going to see, well, okay, the folkses that were there were Bad Omens. They were headlining, I'm not sure the name of this tour. I know they have a tour coming up, I think called the Concrete Jungle Tour. Maybe that was this one. No, this one was the Concrete Jungle Tour. The one that's coming up with Icy Stars is Concrete Forever, I think, and that one hasn't started yet. I think that one starts in like August, which I did want to go to that one because, the date that would be closest to me would be during my birthday weekend, but I guess not. So, the tickets ended up selling out and they were still very expensive. Right, at least I think they are still very expensive. They're like in the hundreds of dollars range. Not to engage in hateration, but I don't think I would pay hundreds of dollars to see Bad Omens. Just saying, I wouldn't. But I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. Okay, before I even say how I felt about them, I don't think they're a bad band. I think they're perfectly sufficient, but I don't know if I like it. I don't know if it's like my scene, so to speak. Anyways, so Bad Omens was headlining. Who I was really there to see are the people that are on my shirt, Invent Animate and Erra. I was wearing my Erra shirt. I was the only person. Well, no, I was not the only person. I saw at least one other person there wearing an Erra shirt. But yes, I was wearing an Erra shirt in a sea of Bad Omen shirts. So that was certainly interesting. Somebody complimented me on my shirt, though. Somebody complimented me on my shirt, and I felt so good. I still feel good, honestly. And all they said was nice shirt. Or no, they said I like your shirt. And I was like, thank you. And I'm like, I'm still feeling that today. Wow. Sometimes it'd be like that, I guess. But yeah. Now, one thing I will say that I noticed at this concert that differed from other metal shows that I've been to, but the male to female ratio was kind of different. I think there were more girlies at this show than there were guys. Because like any other metal show I've been to, it's been basically a sausage fest, which like I kind of get it. I guess metal is a really masked genre because mostly guys are into it, but there are people who would I guess say that Bad Omens isn't really like metalcore, but those people are gatekeeping weird. So I'm going to consider them metalcore just because. I think their first album was anyways. But yeah, I hadn't really listened to Bad Omens before this. However, they did play a song. I don't know which song it is, by the way. I really don't know. They did play a song that I sort of recognized, and just going through their discography on Spotify, there is an album cover that I recognize, so they must have come up at some point in like a radio or a playlist that I listened to like way back, so that might be where I remember them from. But the majority of their songs I don't really know. Now, if you don't know this, Bad Omens, I I said this in the previous episode that they're, a tiki-talkie band, but they did get big on TikTok. Like they had a song. In fact, when the front man, I don't know why I called him the guy. I think his name is like Noah or something. When he was playing one of his songs, again, I don't remember which one. He said, this next song, you might have heard it on TikTok. You might have heard it on Spotify. You might have heard it in Planet Fitness. I guess Planet Fitness playlist has some Bad Omens in it. So yeah, I mean, they know that they've gotten somewhat big on TikTok, and like listening to some of the songs, like I could see them getting really popular on TikTok. Like some of these songs, I can see them being theme songs for somebody's OC, like that's kind of the vibe that I got. Like the music wasn't bad, right? But okay, I think again, I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, once I actually got in the venue, first of all, I was at Minglewood Hall, and actually I posted on Twitter, I think like last week or 2 weeks ago, that Minglewood Hall had a no moshing policy, like officially on their website. That was not upheld at all. There was moshing, and I've got to say, I think some of the girlies who were at this show were absolutely not used to that. Like, I could tell as soon as the pit opened up, like in the first couple of songs that Invent Animate played, because they went on first, like, there were some shocked faces in the crowd. Like, I could tell, like, some people were absolutely not prepared for that. And, like, I can kind of get it. I personally am fine with like moshing. I'm not gonna get in the pit myself because I like having teeth, but some people aren't prepared because if you've never been in a mosh pit before, it looks like a big fight, but it isn't really a big fight. You're literally just pushing each other around very forcefully. So it's a lot of pushing. Sometimes you'll get people throwing kicks, sometimes you'll get people throwing elbows and fists, but that's generally frowned upon, I would think. But a lot of the times you're really just getting pushed around. And when there's like 6 foot tall men getting pushed around and you're like a small, maybe teenage girl, it is a bit off putting. So, like, I could see why some people wouldn't like it, but at the same time, if you don't want to get hit, don't get in the pit, essentially. That's what I'm trying to say. And there, like I said, there was moshing during Invent Animate and Erra set, and I actually somehow managed to get really close to the pit. Like, I was like right on the edge, and like I knew what the deal was. I was bracing myself. Basically, if you find yourself on the edge of a pit, first of all, there's gonna be a lot of pushing, so you're gonna want to like stand your ground pretty well. Since I am just so very small, I'm 4'11". I guess I have a low center of gravity, so like I wasn't about to get knocked over, but you basically have to brace yourself, have your arms up like this, because somebody's going to be flying towards you, and when that happens, you need to be prepared. I did take my own fist to my boob because somebody knocked into me, but like, again, it's fine. I know what's going to happen. It's par for the course, basically. So like, this isn't surprising to me getting punched in the boob by myself. So, but it was certainly an interesting sight seeing some of the girlies who are, used, or I don't know, expecting the same kind of tiki-talkie music, seeing a mosh pit happen. So, that was certainly interesting. I'm not like delighting in these girls, like, I don't know. I don't want to say misery because that sounds extreme, but surprise, we'll say. But it is, again, the only word I can use is interesting to describe someone's first time seeing a pit when they're like not used to it. Now, I did have some, I wouldn't say old heads, I would say they're probably like in their 30s, standing around me, who were like used to that kind of thing. So like, they were, again, they were all, well, they weren't all, they were mostly women, but they knew the deal as well. But I was like standing next to like somebody's mom, and then the pit opens up and we're all of us are just knocking into each other. And just I'm trying to imagine my own mom, right? Like, imagine if I asked her to take me to, okay, imagine if I asked her to take me to the Bad Omens show, and like maybe I don't know a whole lot about the bands who are opening up for them, and we're like standing sort of near the front, and all of a sudden we just start knocking into people. That's got to be a little bit jarring. I will say that. I really hope that happening didn't really put these girlies off from these kinds of shows, because it is a lot of fun. If you're safe and just like aware of your surroundings, it is so much fun. It is just so much energy, and also everyone is just like super friendly, you know? So even though that happened, I hope the girlies, the TikTok girlies, are, still considering going to a metal show, because it really is a lot of fun, you know? But you really have to respect the pit. Anyways, not Erra, Invent Animate opened up. I think they mostly played stuff from Heavener, and I've got a somewhat embarrassing revelation. I have not listened to Heavener all the way through. I know it's like, it's everybody's album of the year, but I just haven't listened to all of it for some reason. It's not been a conscious choice. I just haven't really done it. I should. The songs are really good, There's a lot of great stuff in there. I just haven't listened to it. But I was maybe foolishly holding out hope for some Everchanger in the lineup. There was no Everchanger in the lineup. I think the only time we're gonna see them perform a song from Everchanger, or even Still World, is if they are headlining and have like a longer set. Otherwise, it's probably just gonna be newer stuff, which, I mean, that's fine, but I don't know. I was really hoping for some Everchanger, They didn't even play anything from Graveview, which, I mean, I get it. Like, Heavener just came out, so obviously they're going to want to promote it. It's also like a sort of marketing thing as well. Like, you have new music out, you want to promote that new music so that it sells well. But, there's got to be something in there for us old heads. Man, I was around when the comma was still in their name, right? So, I don't know. I want a little Everchanger. That's it. I just want a little Everchanger. So I hope at some point Invent Animate will be able to have a headlining tour because honestly, they deserve one. And I hope during that headliner tour, they will play some Everchanger and some Still World. And if they do have a headlining tour and they're near me, I will be seated or standing because, it's usually standing room only. So I will be standing. So Erra came on after them, and I was so excited. Again, I was like one of the only doo-doo heads in the crowd that was wearing an Erra shirt. So obviously I was gonna go ham when they came on, and man, what can I say? Erra is just so good. They're just so good live, They're just, I don't know. I just the energy, they're just great. What else? I just think they're neat. That's it. That's all I can say. I just think they're neat. My fellow Alabamians, I gotta, support them because it's very rare that something cool comes out of Alabama. So, anytime I have an opportunity to see Erra, I do want to see them. They will be touring with Bad Omens again, but I'm not sure if I'd want to see Bad Omens live again. Not because they were bad, but just because I don't know if I would want to. And also because any bill that they're on is just going to be some tomfoolery with the ticket prices, and I just don't want to deal with that again. I ended up paying, I think, $60 for this ticket when in reality it was only 25 or 30. No, it was $35. I ended up paying like $30 or $25 more because Ticketmaster is lame. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I hope Erra has another headlining tour because I saw them on their last one, on their first stop in Birmingham. Bro, that one was extra special. That was an extra special show. I know I'm talking about this current one that I went to, but I want to talk about the Pull from the Ghost tour a little bit too, because I saw them in Birmingham, and I think, okay, that's not true. Me seeing The Devil Wears Prada on my birthday, that was probably my favorite, but Erra Pull from the Ghost tour, first stop, oh my goodness. They had a local band opening up for them, which I thought was really nice. Giving local talent a little bit of space to shine. Alpha Wolf. I saw Alpha Wolf for the I saw Alpha Wolf for the first time and heard them for the first time on the Pull from the Ghost tour, and oh my god, do they go hard. Oh my god, they rip and tear. I would love to see Alpha Wolf again if they ever come back to the States because they're Australian. But oh my goodness, they got a new fan. And then, of course, Invent Animate, which I was already a big fan of, they also did really well. And then Erra, just great. I will say during that one, I think there's like some sound issues because Jesse, who's like he's the clean singer, his mic wasn't loud enough or something, so I couldn't really hear it during that show, but gosh, that was just so good. Oh my god. But anyways, back to this last one that I was at. Saw Erra. I knew the words to most of the songs that they performed because it was mostly stuff from Greyview. They played Eye of God. They played some stuff from their self-titled deluxe album. And that was it actually. Oh, and they played Pull from the Ghost. So, and I know all the words to most of those songs, so that was extra special as well. It's always a lot of fun when you can like sing along. Well, for me personally, it's always a lot of fun when you could sing along to something, and I can, the people who were standing around me, like I could tell they didn't really know like about Erra that much. Again, these are TikTok girlies, so they don't really know a whole lot about the openers, which I mean, I'm assuming a lot here, but I could tell they weren't vibing as much. They weren't vibing nearly as much as I was. Let me put it that way. Cause I was, you know what I was like? Okay, so there's gonna be only a few people who can, okay, that's not true. If you have been to a church, okay, that's like not like a boring Catholic church where they only sing like stuffy hymns, but if you've been to a church where they sing like contemporary Christian music or something like that, I guess the only thing that I can really compare it to is when I would go to chapel at Bellhaven, and there would be like the music section at the beginning, and you'd always get a few people with the hands in the air, right? Somebody, okay. You'd always get a few people just with their hands in the air, just like praising the Lord. And, I was never doing that because number one, I don't really believe in that. And number two, it was always early in the morning on a Tuesday. Like, no, the vibes are not matching. They're not matching. Okay. 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. You want me to get wild and wacky at chapel? No, thank you. It's not happening. But anyways, it was kind of like that, right? I was like, hand in the air, knowing every word, just like vibing so hard. Probably singing harder than both Jesse and JT. you know, I a couple of times I saw the girl who was like standing directly in front of me. And again, if you've never been to a show like this, basically you're a can of sardines. You're standing boobies to back with the person in front of you, like you're smushed in. So I couldn't help but think that I was maybe singing slash screaming directly into this girl's ear. And if she's watching, I'm so sorry. But like, I was vibing. So, you gotta forgive me a little bit, okay? So I could, a couple of times she like looked over her shoulder, I think at me, being I don't know if she heard me or not, because I'll say this as well, there are a lot of people not wearing hearing protection, and I was sort of kind of close to the front, like right next to one of those big like row speakers that's like vertical and it like hangs down. We're very close to one of those, and I always wear hearing protection when I go to shows because I like being able to hear. I want to be able to listen to this music after I leave. So I invested in some like really nice, well, I don't know if they're really nice, but they were certainly expensive earplugs. They're I will plug them, not sponsored, but I have the eargasm earplugs, and I think they're about $38. And let me tell you, they were worth it. I can still hear things, no tinnitus here, and when I go to shows, I can still actually hear the show. So they don't block out all noise like the foam ones, but they allow some noise through, and you don't get hearing loss or tinnitus or hurdy McEar or anything like that. So it's pretty great. So yeah, a lot of people not wearing hearing protection, which is very not a good idea. When you're going to any concert, doesn't matter what genre it is, you should still, unless it's like big festival, like a lot of open space, so a lot of space for sound to travel, you should probably wear hearing protection. Like the earplugs that I have, they are low-key kind of uncomfortable, but I would imagine having tinnitus or not being able to hear would suck a whole lot more. So, just do that. So anyways, all that to say is I think the girlie who was standing in front of me might have been getting a little annoyed, but I also don't care because I was vibing. And so Erra set really good. They always, I've never been disappointed by them. I've never been disappointed at any show I've been at. I always have fun, because for the most part, I at least have some familiarity with all the bands that are playing. Like, personally, I wouldn't really go to like a concert where I don't know the artists who are performing unless, I'm just really trying to expand my horizons and go out the box. But I don't know, maybe I would have a lot more fun and like discover a lot more new music if I didn't just stick to, bands and artists that I like knew already. But I guess, I'm the type of person, I like sticking to what I know, so it's probably not going to happen. But anyways, I did it for this one. I've never listened to Bad Omens. I sort of kind of recognize one of their songs. So, but I guess that still doesn't really count, because honestly, I primarily went to see the openers. And I want to pose a question to you all who are either watching or listening. Is it weird to go to a concert only for the openers? Personally, I think no, because I have done it before. Like, I did it this weekend, but I don't think it's weird. Even if they are just the openers, like, it also, okay, what? I guess there are people who, like, skip the opening acts when they go to a concert, and it's like, why? Why would you do that? You're paying to see all of these, right? And I'm also the kind of person, like, if I pay for something, I'm gonna get the full use out of it, right? Like, I wear shoes and clothes and stuff until they're basically falling apart. I intend on driving my car until it falls apart. It's just the kind of person I am. I don't like wasting money. Let me put it that way. I don't like wasting money. So if I pay for a ticket to a show and it's got like 3 bands on the bill, I'm gonna see all 3 of the bands. And I might end up finding that I like one of them, like I did with Alpha Wolf. Or I might have a new appreciation for one of them, like I did with The Devil Wears Prada when I saw them for the first time. They were opening for Beartooth, and it Like I had acknowledged that they were like, you know, a very well respected band in the scene, but I never seen them live. And after I saw them live, I became basically an even bigger fan of them. So yeah, I don't know why people do that. That seems weird to me, but imagine going to a concert just for the openers and then leaving before the main act. That would honestly, I think that's even weirder because the main like artist on the bill, like you would think you'd be. Anyways, I'm rambling now. Anyways, so Erra and Invent Animate, both very good. Love them, amazing. I did I did do a little shouldering through the crowd to get to the front because I showed up to the venue at 5:45 or around that time, and the line was already like almost wrapped around the building, which I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. So there were already a whole lot of people there when I got there, which I probably should have showed up a little bit earlier, but I thought since the doors open at 6, 15 minutes before. Actually, no, that is kind of silly. I don't know why I showed up so late. But anyways, by the time I actually made my way into the building, there were already a lot of people. So I was like, okay, I got to figure out a way to like shoulder my way to the front because I'm not going to be missing out on Erra and Invent Animate. So there are these like two girls, they're like holding hands and like snaking their way through the crowd. And I just decided to follow them. And I got about as close as I could, which was ended up being pretty close. I think I was like maybe 3 layers of people like behind the barrier, which I would say is pretty close. I got a pretty good view, you know, and thankfully there was not a phalanx of 6 foot tall men at the barrier because again, these are TikTok girls. They're not that tall. I mean, there were some guys at the front, but they weren't like super tall, and there wasn't like a whole wall of them. So I kind of lucked out on that, and so I was able to see pretty well. But by the time Erra's set ended, first of all, it was just hot. I think it was like 90 something degrees was the high in Memphis that day, and the air was on in the venue. Thankfully, it wasn't like broken or something. So like the air was circulating. The air was circulating, but like I said, I'm 4'11". I'm like at least half a head shorter than most of the people in this crowd. So I'm like getting everybody's like recycled air, and it's very hard to get like fresh air, right? So by the time Erra's set ended, I had decided that okay, I don't need to be this close to the front for Bad Omens because number one, I'm not really that into them, and like I don't need to be this close to the front. So I ended up making my way to the very back, which there were so many people there. Like it took me a while to get to the actual back of the crowd, where I did end up finally getting some fresh air. Ironically, outside where everybody was like smoking, so not that fresh air, but eventually Bad Omens they started. It was pretty good. I'll say that. I have no complaints. It was just fine. Okay, I don't think the energy levels were the same between Invent Animate and Erra and them because, you know, Invent Animate and Erra, they're, you know, very typical like metalcore bands. There's like a lot of, you know, fast, heavy songs, you know, a lot of unclean vocals, a lot of moshing, that kind of stuff. And, you know, you go from that to Bad Omens, which, I mean, listen, like I said, their music is fine. It's just fine, but I wouldn't say it's particularly heavy, which, I mean, people were saying that Bring Me the Horizon's latest single was heavy, and I listened to it, and it wasn't. So, you know, I don't know what people's definition of heavy is anymore, you know? Because, okay, let me sidebar on that for a second. Bring Me the Horizon came out with a new song that featured Lil Uzi Vert, of all people, and the girlies online were saying that it was heavy, like, oh, Bring Me the Horizon is heavy again. And when people say that, I am expecting Suicide Season. I'm expecting Sempiternal. I'm expecting There Is a Hell, you know? Not necessarily their first album, because their first album was like a bit different, but I'm expecting something within that realm. You know, it was more not. It wasn't heavy at all. So I don't even know why I like expected to get a sound even similar to that again. But, you know, when people say so and so band is heavy again, I automatically assume they're lying, because anytime that has been said, it is not the case. It is not the case whatsoever. So I suppose, okay, I haven't really listened to much Bring Me the Horizon after That's the Spirit, which was not super heavy, but still an overall good album. But I would maybe compare Bad Omens to that as far as heaviness goes, which again, I really don't know what people's definitions of heavy are. Again, for me, if we're talking about Bring Me the Horizons, it would be Suicide Season, but I don't I don't know what people consider heavy. I really don't. I guess I guess heaviness is relative, like time. So I don't want to call Bad Omens Bring Me the Horizon core because that doesn't even make sense. But the word did enter my brain when I was listening to them perform. You know, it was kind of like that. It was what your mom might consider heavy metal. That's what it is. That is what it is. It is like baby's first heavy metal, essentially, in that, people who are used to that genre, like I am, would say, like, what is this? This is basically Fall Out Boy. That's not meant to be mean. It really isn't. Fall Out Boy is good. They have their moments, but they're not heavy at the same time, right? That's what your mom or your grandma might call heavy metal because they don't know any better. They don't know any better. Bad Omens is what your mom might consider heavy metal. But to people, I sound like a gatekeepy metal weirdo, but at the risk of sounding like a gatekeepy metal weirdo, they're not that heavy. And I wasn't really going in expecting anything. I was kind of trying to keep an open mind because again, I never really heard any Bad Omens aside from that one song that I kind of recognize that I can't even remember the name of. But yeah, if you want a nice introduction to like a metal adjacent genre, then Bad Omens might be pretty good for you. I will say, I think, is his name Noah? Noah something? What's it? You know what? It doesn't matter. The lead singer for Bad Omens, he sounded really good. However, I could tell just a little bit, there was a little auto-tune going on, which normally I wouldn't. Would I care? Do I care? I don't know. I don't think I do care all that much, but I will say, auto-tune or not, he did sound really good. So there was that. There were instruments there. Were they being played? Yes. See, now I'm just being mean. I will say their stage setup was really cool. So basically, the stage at Minglewood isn't very big at all. So they had the drums up on like a huge like raised platform, and then there was like another raised platform near the front of the stage, and that's where the singer was most of the time. I mean, he like moved around and stuff. And I think there was a guitarist who was like off to the side. I couldn't really see all that well because by the time they were on, I was like way in the back of the room, which is like very far back. So I couldn't really tell exactly what the setup was like. But also, there are these two big. Okay, let me not do that. Let me not hit the mic. There are these two big like vertical LED walls that had some really nice visuals on them. For Invent Animate, it was just like the Heavener logo, and for Erra, it was like their new Erra logo. Because I was looking back at some of their old album covers because I've been listening to them a lot because I just think they're neat today, and I don't think they're like okay. I'm looking up at it now. You can't see it. I'm looking at my wall of vinyls, and so the little symbol, you can best see it on their deluxe edition of Self-Titled. That wasn't around until this latest album. And also, when are they going to put out some new music? It's been a while. No rush. Like, I'm still vibing with Self-Titled and the deluxe version and Pull from the Ghost, but it would be nice to hear something new. No rush, of course. If you're if you're watching John Erra, no rush, but might be nice. Anyway, yeah, two big LED walls. I think they were LED monitor walls, big monitors that had visuals and stuff. So that was nice. Nice lights. Before Invent Animate came on, I don't know who put these balloons in the crowd, but somebody started throwing a bunch of balloons around, and that was fun. At the very end of their set, the lead singer man had this like big confetti cannon that had like smoke coming out of it too, and there were smoke machines and like the big vertical smoke column machines, if you know what I'm talking about. So the visuals were good, the performing was good. I just wasn't super into the music. And also, one thing that kind of irked me, every venue that I've been at, well, okay, I can't really say this for the Joy Theater because I didn't try to do this at the Joy Theater, but every venue that I've been to so far has had free water. I had to pay $3. I think $3.75 for a bottle of water at Minglewood Hall, which I think was kind of lame, right? I it's water, you know. Well, okay, I will say at the other venues I've been at, the free water, actually no, that's not even true. So some venues they have like a big cooler, like one of those big orange Gatorade coolers that you see at football games or something, that but it just has water in it. And you get a cup, you get your water, and you skedaddle because it's water. And at a different venue that I've been at, they were just handing out water bottles for free. You'd go up to the bar, ask for water, they would hand you a bottle, skedaddle. But here, it was $3. I will say, okay, the last venue that I was at, they had options. So they had water like on tap. It looked like a little beer tap thingy where you pull it and water comes out. You can tell I don't go to bars like often or really at all. Or you could like buy Liquid Death in a can, which was like $6, which is freaking wild. It's just water. So I got water from the tap because it's free. And also, at these things, at these types of events, you really need to stay hydrated. Like, not only was it just hot, but I was sweating buckets. I am just so sweaty there. Just very much in need of hydration, right? And not only that, but at, metal concerts, you're usually moving around a lot, maybe moshing a little, and you need water. And I don't think you should have to pay for water. I'm just gonna put it out there. Maybe if it is like Liquid Death in a can, fine, whatever you can. But at least have an option to just have like water on tap or something like that. I don't think you should pay for water at a venue. That really caught me off guard. So I had my one bottle of water and I rationed it throughout the entire concert because I didn't want to pay $3 for another bottle of water because why would I pay for water? It's lame, whatever. But I knew obviously I needed to stay hydrated because it was hot as balls in there and I was sweating a lot. And if I didn't, maybe I would have passed out and that wouldn't have been nice. So anyways, that was the Bad Omens concert experience. One thing that I forgot to mention, so I didn't really see this, well no, I did see this happen during Erra's set. There's obviously some moshing going on, and all of a sudden I see this girl walking by, like holding her nose, like she got hit in the nose or something. And I'm not entirely sure what happened to her or like where she went or anything. But after Erra set, because they went on second, and I went outside to, get some air, some good fresh cigarette air. There's this guy, and there's these two guys who are also standing next to me, and one of them is like, "Well, this is a metal show. You gotta, if you," I can't remember what he said, but I think he might have been the one who may have unintentionally hit old girl in the nose. Which, if these things happen, again, it is never anyone's intention. Well, it is usually not people's intention to hurt others in the pit. You're just kind of thrashing around, and you might end up getting hurt. You might end up getting a little bruised. You might end up falling down, getting thrashed around a little bit. But again, anyone who's ever been to one of these shows or is used to going to one of these shows knows that, number one, it's not the intention to hurt people. And number two, if you fall down, you will get picked back up. And if you're at a show where there are a lot of people who are versed in this kind of thing, you'll have people checking on you, right? You'll have people saying like, "Hey, are you okay?" That kind of thing. Like, because again, it's not people's intention to get hit. I don't think there was an opportunity for whomever may have hit this girl in the nose to ask whether or not she was okay and to perhaps apologize. But, what can I say? The Tiki-Taki girls are not used. They should have watched some TikToks on tips for the pit. They I guess that didn't land on there for you, Paige. Oh no. Okay, I'm being mean again. Actually, I don't care. If you're going to a metal show, at least have the due diligence to either stand in the back or just don't stand in the middle. The very center of the room is going to be the pit. The front and the center of a show is that's where the pit's gonna be. Okay, if you're watching this and you've never been to a metal show before and perhaps you're about to go to your first one, just stay out of the front and stay out of the middle, because that's where the pit's gonna be. Now you know that. Hopefully this will show up on your For You page. And if you're going, if you're a tiki-talkie girl going to a Bad Omens show, you'll know not to do that. And also, one thing that I didn't really know, but I thought was kind of sweet, but apparently the first time Bad Omens ever toured was as support for Erra, so I thought that was really nice. And now they're bringing them along for this tour and the next one, and you know, maybe exposing them to a wider audience. I thought, you know what, that's great. I love that for them. So yeah, that was my concert experience, and I've not been going for as long as I thought I did. Okay. One other thing that I wanted to talk about that, well, I do know how I feel about it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know. Anyway, I guess I'll just start talking about it. So, Reddit.com is a website that I like to be on, unfortunately, because it can be kind of toxic sometimes, and it has a very not great history when it comes to basically everything. You know, just I don't have the time or the space to like explain why Reddit is just like a hotbed of all of the worst things. I mean, anyways, so Reddit is now introducing this policy as it relates to their API where third-party app makers would have to pay basically a whole lot of money if they want to continue to use Reddit's API, which isn't great. I think Twitter was also going through this kind of thing, but because Elon Musk, number one, doesn't know what he's doing, and number two is wishy-washy, I guess ended up backpedaling on it. So now some third-party type stuff can be used with the Twitter API. Like, I know bots, like the fun bots, not like the, you know, Russian election interfering bots. I mean, maybe them too, because I don't think anything that Skrillon Crust has done with Twitter has actually reduced the amount of bots. But anyways, that's a whole nother different discussion. But I don't think those changes have like gone into effect on Twitter. But what Reddit is trying to do is, I'm not entirely sure the reasoning behind it. Not like whatever reasoning would be good anyways, because the outcome would still be bad. But essentially, all that is to say is that after June 1st, which is next month, which is rapidly approaching, if third-party Reddit apps like Reddit is Fun or Bacon Reader or any number of third-party apps, I personally use Reddit is Fun. I think I used it ever since I got an Android phone, so like 2017. I've been using it for a while now. If they want to continue using the Reddit API to be a third-party app, they would have to pay, I think the number I've seen going around is like $20,000 a month, which is wacky tacky. Kind of a lot, especially considering these third-party apps don't really make that much money being third-party apps. And the reason why that would be bad is like, oh, you know, you might be able to argue like, oh, you just use the official Reddit app. But the official Reddit app or the mobile version of the website just sucks. Like, Reddit went through a redesign a few years ago, which made it was a design refresh that did bring it up to like current design trends, I guess. But it also made it not unusable, but very difficult to use. I'll put it that way. Reddit before had a very simplistic design, and that really worked in its favor. And now that they've redesigned it, it kind of makes it a little bit harder to use. So let me just take a trip down Reddit lane. So if I were to open the Reddit is Fun app, I would be on the front page. And on the front page, I see a list of links. So I can sort by best, I can sort by hot, I can sort by new, saved, top, controversial, basically all of the typical sorts that you can do on Reddit. And I usually go by hot because the best sort just doesn't, I don't know, it's weird. That one was introduced semi-recently, but basically hot is like all of the, I guess, trending Reddit posts for the subreddits that you are actually subscribed to. Now, what I think happens, and I say think because I don't really use, first of all, I don't use new Reddit on desktop, and I don't use the normal Reddit app on my phone or go onto the mobile app or the mobile site because I don't really have to. I have the app. What I have seen people say is happening now is that on your basically what's happening with Twitter on your homepage or your front page, I should say, you're getting recommended posts from subreddits you're not subscribed to. So the whole selling point of Reddit, I think initially is that you can really curate your experience. If you want to be if you want to see certain content, you can see it. If you don't want to see certain content, you don't have to see it. And you can do that by subscribing or unsubscribing from certain subreddits. So when you first make a Reddit account, you're subscribed to all of the default subs, all the default subreddits. And basically that's just like a hand-picked selection by, I guess, the admins of some of the most popular, I guess, subreddits on the site that might generally appeal to people. And I'm still subscribed to most of the default subreddits like r/aw, which is just cute animal pictures and gifs, r/gifs, r/news, videos, world news, funny, to not Today I Learned. I actually subscribe to Today I Learned. Today I Learned is default. Okay. Pics, music, technology, science, those really basic kind of concepts, right? So that you're automatically subscribed to those when you make a Reddit account. And you can choose to unsubscribe from them if you don't want to see that stuff and subscribe to maybe a more specific kind of science subreddit. Like, I don't know, there's probably a molecular biology subreddit. You can really curate your experience, is what I'm saying. And what Reddit has started doing is showing you, I guess, recommending you posts from subreddits you don't follow that they think you might follow, which I guess is okay for discoverability. But a lot of Reddit users don't really like it because it's basically just showing you, I guess, what do you call it? Irrelevant content, stuff that you're not subscribed to. Like, I'm not subscribed to, I don't know, what's a random subreddit? I'm not subscribed to the guitars subreddit, but Reddit might think I'm interested in guitars because I am subscribed to the metalcore subreddit. So, it wouldn't be that much of a logical leap to say that I, as a person who listens to a certain type of music, might be interested in a subreddit devoted to a certain type of instrument, but like, I'm not. I don't play the guitar. I don't really have much interest in playing the guitar. I did have a bit of a phase where I watch a lot of guitar videos on YouTube, but that didn't really last very long. And maybe I do still watch guitar videos on YouTube, but it's not something that I would want to subscribe to on Reddit, essentially. So that is one, I guess, complaint. And then another one is just that the mobile site and the app, the official app, is just really unintuitive. So, okay. Let's go back to reddit.com. So when I'm on the homepage, firstly, I don't get any ads on Reddit is Fun. There is an option to turn ads off. So I've never seen an advertisement on Reddit because I have them disabled, which is something that you can do on Reddit is Fun and a lot of other third-party apps, which you can have like premium subscriptions to these apps, but that's completely optional. I don't know, I'm forgetting words. It's completely optional and it doesn't really affect the browsing experience. So I'm on Reddit. I'm on the Reddit is Fun app, right? And I'm scrolling and I'm seeing posts, the top post basically for, I'm on the hot sort for all the subreddits that I'm subscribed to, and I'm seeing, all the posts. It's just posts. But, with the official Reddit app, there's like other stuff that they kind of shove in there. So like recommended stuff that you're not, ads, that kind of stuff. So Reddit originally was, again, a very streamlined experience where it was really just a content aggregator. You chose what you wanted to see, but now Reddit is kind of morphing into a social media site, which I do believe Reddit is a social media site, even though people on Reddit like to pretend that Reddit isn't a social media site, which that I say you're silly billies and you're incorrect. But Reddit has implemented a lot more social features that some people might not want or might not be into. So like now on Reddit, you can have profiles, and this feature isn't new actually. It came around in like the last few years, I think. So you can have profiles, you can have profile pictures, and you can post directly to your profile. And on Reddit is Fun, you don't see that. So if I were to go into the comment section of this random post that I just chose, the only thing that I can see are people's usernames. I can't see their profiles. If I wanted to, I would have to go click on, or I guess tap on a comment, do the three dots to see a person's profile. So if I wanted to see that person's post history, I could, but realistically, like, why? So you could have a profile picture now if you wanted to. You can also follow people, which, again, Reddit as a social media site, conversely to, say, a Twitter, is not very account focused, if that makes sense. Well, I guess it is now that they're implementing all these features, but it's more, how do I say this? It's more content focused. Like, I really don't know what to compare it to, because you can't really compare Reddit to anything. It really is very unique as far as social media sites go. So, the point of Reddit is to share content, but not really to like have a profile, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense at all, but basically, also it's very anonymous. Like, you don't have to use your real name on Reddit, which some people do, which I find exceptionally strange, especially considering I am of the generation, I guess I'm at the tail end of that generation, where growing up I was always told to never put your real name on the internet, and yet people do. I'm always astonished when I see YouTubers where their YouTube name is just their first and their last name. It's like, do y'all not want privacy? Oh my goodness. You could just Google your name and there's everything. Like, I want there to be some delineation there. I want there to be a separation between my online life and my personal life, which might be a little hard because now I'm putting my face out there, but there still is some delineation between my online life and my personal life. Like, there are a lot of people I know that, like, in real life, that don't know that I have a YouTube channel, and I intend on keeping it that way. They don't know I have a podcast, and I intend on keeping it that way. Like, realistically, that, if I did tell them, it might help my numbers a little bit, but again, I want there to be a little bit of delineation between my online life and my personal life. It's always been that way for me, again, as part of that generation where you're always told to never put personal information on the internet, to never put your real name on the internet, honestly, to never put your face on the internet. But with the rise of Facebook, it's a little hard to do that. But I was always the kind of person, or I guess in the generation where, there was still some privacy on the internet. And how does this relate to Reddit? Well, I guess, if you have profile pictures, then you might want to put your real face on there. And some people do post pictures of themselves to Reddit, which that's completely optional, I guess. But essentially, the browsing experience for the official Reddit app versus third-party apps, which are very pared down, they're very much the classic Reddit experience, that might go away pretty soon, June 1st. And, a lot of subreddits are going dark in protest, which means I think they're going to, how do you go private, basically, and no one can make like posts or anything, and you can't see the subreddit. And a lot of the major like default subreddits are doing this as well. Will it actually do anything? I don't know. I really don't. There have been some, I guess, controversies on Reddit that have made like big national news, like the whole Ellen Powell situation. She came along and everybody hated her, and soon she was gone. So, and that got like national attention. That got national attention. That was back in 2015. I remember when all of that happened. It was kind of a mess. And if you think about it, not really Ellen Powell's fault. It was actually Alexis Ohanian's fault for people hating Ellen Powell, which I find really interesting. I find it really interesting, I find it really interesting that people decided to hate on this Asian woman instead of this white guy for doing things that they didn't like. But, what can I say? Reddit be like that. So, but anyways, I think personally, if I wouldn't be able to use Reddit as fun anymore, I don't know if I want to use the official Reddit app. And I don't really like browsing Reddit, on like the computer. Like, I primarily browse Twitter on the PC because I don't really know why. I just like doing it that way. But Reddit, I have always primarily browsed it on my phone. and always through third-party apps, because for the longest time Reddit didn't have an official app. They only like kind of recently had an official app. So I've been browsing on third-party apps because that's all there was. And it was, the classic Reddit experience. It was very pared down, very simple, not a whole lot of bells and whistles, but it didn't really need to be. Like, Reddit is not a complicated website. It doesn't have to be a complicated website. It doesn't have to have a whole lot of features. I think that's what makes Reddit really good, is that it doesn't have a whole lot of features. There's not a whole lot you can do, right? But now there's like profiles, and you can like you were able to like DM people before, but that was a bit different than like a chat function that's there now, which I never use because why would I? I never really PM people either, but that's just me. So, if, and it would be kind of sad, if Reddit were to kind of shoot itself in the foot by disabling third party apps, because, I mean, for the most part, me not being on Reddit as much probably would do me some good. If we're being honest, it would probably do me some good, because, again, Reddit's user base is so very normal, so normal, so normal, and by that I mean the opposite of normal. But I will say this, like 99% of the tours that I found out about and that I have gone to, I found them on Reddit. I found them on the r/metalcore subreddit. All the tours get announced on there, and I see them as soon as they're posted, because, for the most part, it's the bands that's posting them, let's say on Twitter or on Facebook or something, and I'm not following every single band on Twitter, and I'm certainly not on Facebook. So, it's a very easy way to see new music that comes out, tours that are announced, things like that. And honestly, I mean, this doesn't mean Reddit is going away like forever, obviously, but my preferred method of using Reddit would be going away, and that would kind of suck. And, maybe I might miss cool tours that are coming through. It might be a little bit harder for me to find that kind of thing. And that's just one very small example, I think, for me personally. There's probably more examples like that other people might be able to, I don't know, relate to more. Because I think for the most part, the only community that is like specifically on Reddit that I would desperately miss if, third-party apps were to go away and my only option was to browse on my PC or, I don't know, the official app, which sucks, would be the metalcore subreddit. Like every other subreddit I could probably do without. Like if they were to disappear completely, like whatever. But the metalcore subreddit kind of slays. It's great, honestly. It's not as gatekeepy. Well, it's kind of getting to that territory, I'm not gonna lie. In recent months, we've had some what is and what isn't metalcore discussions, which help no one. I don't know why they have them. I don't engage in them because, again, they're silly. But, new music gets posted there, new tours get announced, like, okay, so on Spotify, if you go on the live events section, like I'm about to right now, if you go on the live events section, you can enter your location and it'll show you all of the live events. But I live in Jackson, Mississippi. Ain't no metal concerts coming here. I have like 3 options for shows that I can go to that are like within reasonable driving distance, and that's New Orleans, Memphis, and Birmingham. Those are the only 3 frequently trafficked locations that I would consider driving to, because they are all mostly equidistant from one another in that they're roughly 3 hours away. Birmingham is 4 hours, but I would still be willing to drive that distance. And like there's nothing, I don't know what's going on, like which way is this, west? I don't know what's going on west of Mississippi. I mean, there's Arkansas, which I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I want to go to Arkansas again. That was kind of a lot. That was kind of a grueling drive. I would never make that drive by myself. Absolutely not. Never going to Arkansas again, so that's off the list. The one time was fine. Honestly, it would have to be a really good lineup for me to go again, like Periphery or something, which I was going to, but I talked myself out of because of the stupid tornado. But I wouldn't go to Arkansas. What is south of Arkansas? Girl, let me look at a map. I don't even know what is to the west of Mississippi. This is crazy. Okay. So there's Arkansas, there's Louisiana, which there's nothing in Louisiana aside from New Orleans, which is south. And then north-ish is Memphis, but that's Tennessee. And then to the west of that is Oklahoma, which no offense, but what's in Oklahoma? And then there's Texas, which I would 6-lane highways? I think not. I am not driving to Texas. First of all, it's like 6 hours away. I think Dallas is like 6 hours away, which is crazy. Don't want to spend 6 hours in a car. I would much rather spend like 3 hours on a plane, but obviously plane tickets are expensive. I just hate how far away and just spread out things are in the United States. I just hate it. I hate living in a metro area. Everything is so far. If I want to go anywhere, it's at least 20 minutes on the interstate in any direction just to go anywhere outside of Jackson proper, but that's a different discussion entirely. So yeah, all that to say, I don't have a whole lot of options when it comes to, places that I want to go. So if I did want to get notifications, say from Spotify, for tours that are coming up, I can only really choose like one location, even though I have 3 locations I want to go to. I'd have to cycle through all of them. Otherwise, I wouldn't get the notification, right? And there is this website called Bands in Town, which I think you have to like follow specific artists, and it'll tell you, just like the title says, which bands are in town. But again, that works off of one location. So I'd have to set it to one of 3 locations in order to get notified of it. And if a tour is coming in one of those locations, but not all 3 of those locations, and I'm only on one of those locations, but it's not the right location, then I won't get notified of it at all. There is like a big repository, I think that would be the right word, big repository of tours for spanning the entire like metal genre on the website Lambgoat. But again, you have to like go there and like manually search. You don't get really notified. There probably is a way to like, I don't know, sign up for the website and get notified of like tour announcements or something like that. I have not been made aware of something like that. If there is, that's great. If not, but all that to say is that metalcore subreddit is a great resource for me for finding new music to listen to and finding tours that are coming up that may or may not be coming anywhere near me to go to. And for some people that'd be like, oh, it's just music, it's not really that big of a deal, but for me it is a big deal. Okay, I like my live music, I like my music, period. So if there's new music, I want to find it, right? And I guess I have the Discovery Weekly and the Release Radar on Spotify, but those playlists, they're fine, but it's not showing me what I want to see, essentially. But the metalcore subreddit shows me everything that I want to see, and not having that to be easily accessed on Reddit, that would kind of suck. And I suppose for other people, again, like I said, they have those communities for them where not being able to easily have a central hub for stuff like that might not be super great. So, it kind of sucks that this is happening. Honestly, I do kind of see it like an eventuality, because I think, the rumblings is that Reddit has been trying to go public, as in be publicly traded on the stock market, as in make some money, for quite some time now. And in order to do that, they've had to do certain things. And one of those things is banning not safe for work content. Now, okay, I don't particularly care. I get it. There's a lot of porn on Reddit. There is an astonishing amount of porn on Reddit, which I find it really funny that states like Louisiana and Arkansas and also Mississippi has introduced legislation to completely ban or I think most notably it was Oklahoma, where now if you go on the Pornhub website, it's just a video saying, hey, here's why you can't access this. It's because your legislators have made it so that you have to verify your ID to get off, which I think is just, who's gonna do that? Who's gonna scan their driver's license to touch? Who's gonna do that? Basically, who's gonna do that? Really, no rational person is gonna do that. That seems like a massive invasion of privacy. What? Who is gonna do that? I don't know how many times I'm gonna say who's gonna do that, because who's gonna do that? But yeah, there is an obscene amount of porn on Reddit. Anything you could possibly think of, it's on reddit.com. Reddit now is what Tumblr used to be for porn, essentially. So before they nuked that, and see what did that, or geez, mixing my words. See how that worked out for Tumblr. Their valuation went way down. I think they ended up being sold by Yahoo, who had originally bought them for like, I don't know how many billions of dollars, for like 7 million to whoever owns it now. And now Tumblr has started to be a little bit more chill. You know, Tumblr is having a renaissance, which is good because Twitter is absolutely catching fire. And I really don't think, especially considering they used to be dueling communities for a while, I don't think, you know, after a potential Reddit exodus, people will be going to Tumblr. Like, I don't think that'll be happening. If you know anything about the histories of Reddit and Tumblr beefing, you know that's not going to happen. But I think it's good that Tumblr is starting to be a little bit more chill, having a renaissance. But, you know, Reddit is a very popular website. You know, it's what I think the 6th most trafficked. I might be making that up, but it's really high in the rankings. It's like top 10 most trafficked websites, either in the United States or the world. It's very high up there as far as social media sites go, which again, yes, Reddit is social media, despite what Redditors might want to say. It is. Just accept it. Anyway. So yeah, that's happening. I don't know how I feel about it. Obviously, it's kind of messed up that it's happening. Will it get me to stop using Reddit completely? Probably not. Because realistically speaking, I mean, there probably are going to be a lot of people who will be simultaneously working on workarounds for, you know, not having API access or whatever. So even though it might happen, I don't think it'll last very long. If it does, there's gonna be a workaround for it. I mean, if you're able to make an app for YouTube where all ads are blocked, you're gonna be able to make an app for Reddit where it's, you know, like a normal third-party app. So, and I think I have been seeing it on some news outlets because, again, some subreddits have been announcing that they're going to be going dark in protests. So I think I've seen it on The Verge. I think I can only really positively say The Verge has like reported on it as of yet. But I don't know. I feel a little ambivalent, I guess. My feelings don't really go strongly in one way or another. Because like it'll be, well, obviously I don't want it to happen because, you know, that won't be good. But as far as me no longer like having a reliable or non-annoying way to like access Reddit, let me say this. I started using Reddit far too young. I was 13 when I first made my account. In fact, I think my Reddit account that I've had ever since then has like the 8-year badge on it or something. Like I've had my account for quite some time. I've been, you know, browsing it for quite some time, for better or worse. Probably for worse, if I had to guess. I think Reddit may have done a number on me, you know, just like in general with some of the stuff that I was exposed to on there, which I suppose could be said about any social media site, but I'm talking about Reddit, so we're going to talk about Reddit. It might have done a number on me. It kind of, for a while, I found myself being very cynical because of, you know, the stuff that I was seeing on Reddit. Not necessarily just like the type of news or articles or anything that was getting shared on there, but the Reddit hive mind is real. Let me say that. The Reddit hive mind is real to the point where if I go on Ask Reddit, right, and I see, I'm about to do it right now just to tell you like how formulaic and just predictable Reddit can be. I'm going to go on Ask Reddit and I'm going to, let's see here. I'm going to try to find a question that's been asked a bajillion times, and I'm going to see if I can predict the top comment. Let's see. What type of human behavior will you never understand? That's there's only 133 comments, and it was posted an hour ago, but I guarantee the top comment is going to be something related to social media. It's going to be something related to social media. If not the top comment, then at least one of the top 3 comments are going to be something related to social media, disparaging it in some way. Watch, bro. Okay, the top one is littering, which, I mean, littering is bad. Number 2, mistreating other people because they have a mental disorder. Okay, this isn't really going very well for me. Okay, never mind. It's not something to do with social media. I'm surprised. Let's see. Let me go to the top of this week. Let's see here. I'm going to try to see. First of all, the majority of the questions here have the not safe for work flair on them, which I've been on this hell site for so long that I remember the no sex questions week where you couldn't ask anything about sex on Ask Reddit. And honestly, it was very peaceful for that week. I don't know why they don't bring it back. They really need to, because the amount of sex questions on Ask Reddit is just like, is this subreddit populated by like 13-year-old boys? Jesus H. Murphy. Okay. All right. Here, here's some. I'm umming because I already know. What would you ban if you knew you had final say? Now this one, I'm gonna say maybe not the top comment. I feel like, okay, so I'm very well acquainted with Reddit's really paradoxical anti-social media hate boner. So like I feel like I know that's gonna be the top comment for this thread. The top comment is congressional stock trading, which is actually very reasonable. What's the second one? YouTube ads. Next one, Ticketmaster, which, okay, next one. Okay, maybe I don't know Reddit all that well. Oh god. Okay, so this example is not working out for me. Basically, the Reddit hive mind is real, right? You know, generally, like what's the popular opinion on Reddit at the time versus the unpopular opinion. Like I know what, Reddit's top celebrity of the hour is. It used to be Jennifer Lawrence. Everybody loved Jennifer Lawrence. And then I'm not entirely sure when this happened. I want to say it might have been after the fappening, which no, that originated on 4chan, but it migrated over to Reddit. That's basically when all the celebrities' iClouds got hacked and all their nudes got leaked, and Jennifer Lawrence was included in that, and now people think she's annoying, which, whatever. But, Keanu Reeves is a celebrity of the hour. It's very formulaic and not in a super great way, the Reddit hive mind. Like, I don't know. I really don't know like what to say about it, how to exactly put it in words, but I think Reddit had a number, or did a number on me in not a good way in my formative years. I don't know. It's just the kind of person that, if you imagine a Redditor in your mind, I don't want to say like Discord mod, but maybe Discord mod. I know a lot of different kinds of people use Reddit: young, old, male, female, non-binary, some other gender. Reddit has, again, it's one of the most trafficked websites, if not in the United States, in the world. So obviously a lot of different kinds of people are going to use it, but you have this kind of, the enlightened atheist. That was like a popular Reddit archetype for a while, even though now they get clowned on a little bit. But it's not, I don't know, it's not super great people. Everyone's depressed, everyone has anxiety, everyone has some kind of mental health issue. Everyone absolutely hates social media. Everyone, it's not a very positive archetype of person who uses Reddit, and that rubbed off on me when I was younger in a very not great way. So will it be maybe okay? Well, at least now, like as an adult, I can kind of see through a lot of the BS that a lot of Redditors like put on the site, like a lot of the wacky opinions. Like, okay, another very popular question that people put on Ask Reddit because they're unoriginal is men of Reddit, what hold on, how do they usually phrase it? Hold on, no, what is something that other people find attractive that you don't? Which is just, a perfect opportunity to just dump on women, because that's something that they love to do. And it's always fake nails, lip injections, implants, stuff like that. And it's like, women don't do that kind of stuff to look good for men, you know? They do that stuff for themselves. Like I don't have lip injections. I do my nails sometimes. I haven't done them in quite some time, but I've never done that for male attention. I don't know like why people have that preconceived notion. Wearing makeup because it's so vain, which again, I will say these days most women don't do that for male attention. They do it for themselves. Okay? Other stuff that women do just to make themselves feel pretty, which is just, always dumped on. It's like, yeah, how can you wipe your butt with those talons? And it's like, why do you care? Why is that important to you? Why, you know? It's just things I will never understand about certain Reddit men that always pops up in Ask Reddit. It's just so annoying. Anyways, I think I'm going to wrap this up here because I think I've been going for far too long. Follow me on Twitter at It's Just Aaron with an underscore and an A. It'll be on screen. You'll know how to spell it. I have a card now, so if you want to see all of my links, they're in one centralized location. You can find them there, as well as all of the formats that this podcast is in. So audio and video. And, if you're only listening to the audio version, you're only getting half the story. So, I feel like there's other stuff that I need to say in my outro, but I can't quite remember what it is. Anyways, that'll be it for me for this episode, the third episode of the Runnin My Mouth podcast. Thank you for allowing me to run my mouth. And I'm gonna go turn a light on because it's gotten dark all of a sudden.